Wow. Don't you hate? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the tiny flub version of this week's Marketing Happy Hour. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Christopher Vogelmann. I haven't put drvogelmann.com there because we are doing a challenge, a 5-day free challenge called Health Biz Breakthrough, along with Mr.
John Paduchak.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Videos are social.
Videos are social. That's me. And of course, we also have health business broadcasters like Dr. V says we're working on right now. And Local Marketing Strategies is my other group on Facebook.
Health Biz Breakthrough.
Health Biz Breakthrough. What did I say?
Broadcasters.com.
Broadcasters. Oh. It's all good.
It's okay. The other day, I put in the wrong link to somebody called Health Biz Challenge. Okay. That was fun. It's a link that went to nowhere. So, do we need to mute you, John, because of other cats giving you problems?
It's a rat.
It's a rat. Okay. Yeah, with that cameo appearance by the critter,
by my son,
Paduchak household, yes, and Nick, we give you the implementation coach.
Hello. This is Kayvon, Coach Kay, implementation coach for entrepreneur. At simplify.zone, you're never alone.
No, it's more like you're never alone. At simplify.zone.
I need a crash course.
Don't crash. You prevent people from crashing and burning.
So I do, yes.
Yeah. Hey, so today we're talking about, I'll call it Audience Building 101. And the big question is, do you give people, in order to build an audience for your product or service, something that they want? Or do you give them what they need? I'll throw the question open to the panel. And silence.
John, you're up.
Silence engulfs the room.
I think at the end of the day, you end up giving them a little bit of both. You give them what they want because yes. they think they have a particular thing in mind that they must have. And then at the end of the day, you know what they really need. So I think you have to give them a bit of both.
So I think as a Jaggerian, Mick Jagger, that is, that you can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. That's
there you
go. Yes. So, John, when you say at the end of the day, are we talking about at the end of the day as at the end of the day of marketing a promotion, or at the end of the day after we have developed a client-coach relationship and we're helping with them?
After we've developed a client-coach relationship and we're helping them with things, we were talking today about this, and I said, at some point, we think we know exactly what they need. They certainly know what they want, but there might be something along the way that we just didn't quite get or understand, and we have to come up with a strategy that gives them what they need for that particular instance. So I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah. And this... I really like what you said.
By the way, that didn't take long. We've just been dropped in the group as my test for today.
Okay.
I was like, that lasted under 5 minutes. So,
that's a new record.
It is actually, because we've been dropped at 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and today, earlier in the day, we were dropped at 21 minutes and 42 seconds. So,
do you think this is a glitch or a new Facebook?
It's a Facebook. Policy? It's a bug by the Book of Faces.
It's a new Facebook feature.
It's a new feature. It's called the FF. It's the FF feature, the frickin' frustration feature.
Yeah, well,
it's the F3 method. The F3 method.
The F3 method.
It's definitely been our frustration for this week, for sure.
Man, especially when you start a challenge the week that the bug comes in. So John has been kind enough to give us his Zoom room as a potential backup where we can drop the link into the group and then port them over to Zoom until such time as Zookland decides that they have fixed their bug.
Yes. So a message to Facebook: if you think what we want is to start a live stream, it's not. What we need is the live stream to stay up.
continuation. We
There we
need
go.
to continue to stream as opposed to be cut off at the neck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just the starting is not good. Also, being able to maintain the connection and finally finish the live stream. So,
Well, also,
listen up.
yeah. And but the interesting thing is we're still streaming on YouTube right now. We're still streaming on Twitter, of all places, through Periscope. And we are streaming to several pages and profiles. So the pages and profiles aren't the issue on Facebook. It's merely the private group. They did something to the privacy settings in groups that now causes you can actually start the stream. It just ends prematurely. So we have streamus interruptus.
Yeah.
Okay, now there is a scientific name for it too.
I'm calling it streamus interruptus.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
that-
And some things are out of our control, so I
Yeah,
guess we just need to concentrate on what we can.
But as my father used to always say, he said that the ability to adapt is the sign of intelligence in an organism. So I'm thinking we're probably pretty damn smart because we're learning to adapt.
yeah.
Indeed we are.
And you mentioned your German heritage earlier.
Yeah.
So there was this. I used to have this magnet on my kitchen fridge, which was a German proverb. We can never control the wind, but we can always adjust our sails.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know what the German version of it is, but good lesson here.
Nicht verstehen Sie. I need to actually learn German, and my wife and I both want to do that because we'd like to spend more time in Germany, maybe several months a year in Germany and Spain and other places. But that's not until
I took some courses a few years ago.
Oh, you did?
Yes. I always, when I was young, I learned how to do all the numbers and some of the words and that sort of thing. And I also took some lessons. But German is a fun language to learn.
Well, actually, it's funny thing is because English is Germanically based with a dose of Latin, Greek, French, and whatever else they threw in there. So, Hey, so back to audience building because we may just have repelled a huge chunk of our audience. What about but let's talk about wants and needs because people come to us as marketers, as coaches, as business advisors and mentors to have their desires fulfilled. So what are some of the top desires that potential buyers or potential clients are looking for to satisfy those desires?
Hey, this is good to know. Cam said
video
you're
is still
streaming less for launching. So thank you, Cam, for letting us know that.
Yeah, good. That's working.
It's streaming.
And hello, Cam.
Stream on, Cam.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was kind enough to let us throw that into Lust for Launching. I feel so lusty now that we've been launching. So,
yeah. So talking about wants and needs.
Yeah, desires.
Something that comes to my mind is people, not when I say people, I'm not just talking about the clients, all of us. We say what we want, but we're not clear on that. So I find a good service serving our clients and all of that is to really help them with a few questions to clarify what is it that they want, because we're talking about marketing. The marketing desires is always I need more sales, or I need more leads, or this and that. But okay, is that what you really need? Or what does more mean? Is that 10 more? Is it 100 more? Is it 1,000 more? So just by clarifying some of that and adjusting the desire, we adjust the expectations as well. So suddenly it turns into something that is vague to something that is now implementable. And also when we reach that goal, or when the client reaches that goal, they know they have arrived. So there's that sense of satisfaction and victory and success and all of that too. So I think that's one of the things that comes to my mind when it comes to desires and wants and that sort of thing.
Well, people desire, they may say, I want more money, but the reality is they want the experiences and the emotional satisfaction that the money brings, or I want more clients. They really necessarily don't want more clients or more patients. They want those individuals who they can deliver services for and that will result in more profit for their business. So it's almost like you have a chain of cause and effects depending on what they say their initial desire is.
Yes. And speaking of chain of cause and effect, there is that concept called the chain of beliefs. Have we talked about it before?
I don't think we really have we, John?
Okay.
I don't think so.
Well, it's always a good concept to go over again.
Yeah.
So the chain of beliefs is all of the beliefs that one person has from okay, you guys take this. I gotta.
Should we take your phone call? We don't have the technology for that. more ability to adapt to the changes. Well, beliefs are
It's so I'm back. It was the I have this subscription to this meat delivery service. It's grass-fed, high quality meat that every 2 weeks or so they bring a box.
Yeah.
So today is the delivery day, so I just had to open the door. On that.
So there's some dead cow flesh arriving at your doorstep.
Well, it's coming up.
Right.
Okay. All right. Just so we know, if you come back and we see your face dripping with blood, we'll know that you're kind of like sushi of the range.
Yeah. Exactly. It's frozen, but yeah. It's not that fresh. So I was talking about the chain of beliefs.
Chain of beliefs. Yeah.
From where we are initially, or could be initially, with a situation, problem, product, until we buy, we go through different phases of belief. So I'm gonna preview the final belief, then we go to the beginning. The final belief before we make the purchase is, I know I have a problem. I know what my problem is. I am looking for a solution. I have the willingness to pay for the solution. This is the solution that I want, and I want to buy it from this guy, and I want to buy it now. We need to have all of these beliefs to make the final purchase, right? So the step before that, it has all of that. It's not just, I want to buy it now. So going from that stage to this stage, our work becomes to create, let's say, the time sensitiveness and urgency and all of that. So going all of the back. So in every step, one of the beliefs drops. So at the beginning, the very beginning is, do they know they have a problem?
Right.
Or is this a problem? The next one, is this a problem that they're looking for a solution? The next step, is this a problem that they're looking for a solution that they're willing to pay for it, or they actually want to solve it? And that sort of thing. So as you can see, because the beliefs are different, I believe the wants and desires will also change, which creates the framework for the basis of the conversation or the copy or content that we're going to have at each stage of the sales, marketing, and promotion, until we get to the sales part, which continues with that, because that customer journey of beliefs, this is the pre-purchase, during purchase, after purchase, and all of that. So the balance of wants and needs versus what they desire changes, and it's our work to manage all of that. Make sense? Did I?
It does make sense.
Manage to make it confusing?
No.
I think this reminds me of Scott Olford had that program called, what was the SSF method? The sidewalk. You went into the street, and then eventually, it was this process whereby you first had to make people aware they even had a problem. So for a lot of people are blissfully unaware. And then you got to the point where, I do have a problem. And then you begin to lead them to the idea that perhaps there is a solution to their problem and they're not in a hopeless situation. And then eventually you get them to move a little bit more to consuming some content, which helps them come to the realization perhaps there is help available. And then they start consuming more of your content until you get to such a point that they kind of reach the freeway or the expressway and they're flying down the highway with you as their mentor.
Makes sense.
So that was his little thing. I think, what did you call it? It was the sidewalk, the road, SR, something like that, where he was, you're gradually getting to the point. It reminds me of the whole notion of developing skills, where at first you have unconscious incompetence, and then you get to the point where you're going to be consciously incompetent. Like, wait, I don't know what the hell I really am doing. And then you develop a few more skills, and then you become consciously competent, and then eventually you use the skill set for such a long period of time that you become unconsciously competent. And the example you would use is driving a car. And you can drive in your car and not even think nowadays, because you're on autopilot in your subconscious.
Yeah, and the car is a great example, because there are two parts to it. Driving the car, or now parking the car. And parking the car is always conscious competent.
True.
Right.
Like parallel parking. I mean,
parallel parking.
When I score big and just fly into a space in parallel parking, I feel a tremendous sense of joy. Whereas if I didn't quite do it right and I'm struggling going back and forth and try 2 or 3 times, I feel consciously incompetent.
Yeah, I remember there was this one I used to have in an SUV, and this space was just right, and it was a back-to-back kind of a traffic. So I signaled, and the other car behind me gave me the space. So I had a little bit of a back and forth, but it was just few inches, and eventually when I put it in, when the other car drove by me, they're like, "Hey!"
cheering you
they're
on.
all cheering me. Like,
can tell you,
you made it fit.
Kayvon, I have never been cheered on for accomplishing parallel parking.
Yeah, that was
You're a
challenging
lucky
one.
guy. You must have good karmic points.
Well, I learned how to drive in Iran, so it's
Oh,
a different skill set over there.
enough
I will-
said.
I need to pause one moment because I just successfully spilled my water all over
Oh
the desk.
my
Oh.
God,
Man.
So I'll just mop up here while
Okay.
you guys carry on.
I do that a lot, and I do have a
Crazy.
bunch of different things on my desk. I am accident prone myself today.
See, normally I sit down. Today I needed to stand up because I'm tired of sitting. So let me go clean up. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Okay.
good luck with that. Yeah, I do that a lot. I always set things in a way that if accident happens, because they usually happen, I create the least amount of damage.
And a way to clean up quickly.
Yeah. So I'm curious to know, John,
Yes.
in the video business, videos or social, what are some of the common wants that you hear that you work on to convert them to what they really need?
I'm glad you asked that question. I think a lot of the common wants that I hear is most people want or know they need to do more video.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty easy one. I think most of us would agree that everybody isn't really doing enough, and it's the most highly consumed form of content right now.
Yeah.
So that just kind of makes sense. Usually they want to know how it's going to fit in and work for them. Like how's it fit into my workflow? Without, being something I've got to go out of my way to do. How do I make it simple and, easy to fit in?
That speaks to me because I am at this stage that I am like your customer avatar kind of a thing. So I have the same thoughts, that sort of thing in my head. So my question as a person who is in your target market for that, and I'm guessing this is a question for some of our viewers and listeners too. So I want more videos. Then I'm asking myself, no, hold on a second. What does more mean first? But do I want more videos or do I want better videos? Which one helps my business to grow better? Daily videos just to stay on top and just send whatever quality, or actually spend some time and do, let's say, weekly videos, but with more thoughts, let's say scripting, flow of conversation, maybe a few images here and there. So there is some production to it. Not complicated, something that a novice person like me can do, right? So as far as having a successful brand with video helping it, where do you help me to balance that desire for more or desire for quality?
It's funny you should ask that because I think you kind of have to go through some stages. So you can't immediately go. I find that most people can't immediately go to easy. They have to how do I do it the hard way first? I got to get better at this. So I kind of, in some ways, it depends on the person, but I'll often let them go down that path. So I've talked before about my friend Ken and getting him started with video. And when I first met Ken, he, it was kind of the classic thing. You look at somebody's YouTube channel and they got a photo of them, no other graphics, no other videos. It's just a photo of them. They just never got around to starting the YouTube channel. It just looks completely naked and bare. And that's kind of the way most people's social media looks everywhere. I want to do it. I thought about doing it, but I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yes.
And then, so we go through that stage and then it becomes well, I know I got to do this. So I've scripted out some stuff and I'm going to get a teleprompter. In his case, he was like, I'm going to use a teleprompter and I'm going to make these videos. I said, well, make like your fact videos, the things that you want people to know about you, because that's something easy and it's something that's useful. And so he did that and he goes, geez, this is kind of hard. And I said, I understand that. I said, have you ever tried, he used to speak. He was a financial mortgage broker. And so he used to speak to large crowds. I said, when you spoke to large crowds, how did you do that? Oh, well, I wrote down a couple of bullet points and I just would, speak off the top of my head and I just cover the bullet points.
Yes.
Let's try that. And let's try to do live streaming your videos now. And let's do it. And then we got on StreamYard and we did it in multiple places and all of that.
Yes.
Goes, oh my gosh, what a difference. It's so easy. So it's like taking your child and teaching them to ride a bike.
Yes.
They have all kinds of hard time with it at first, and then they get the balance down and everything's working great. And hey, look, Dad, I can ride the bike. And so that's kind of the way that worked out. And then as we got going along, he goes, wow, I really love doing the videos like this. And before he had done all of stuff by audio.
Mm-hmm.
And he used instant teleseminar to do all of his meetings and workshops with his clients. He goes, geez, could I do that on video? I don't know. Let's try it and see how your audience reacts. So we did it on video. He couldn't believe the difference. I mean, it was like, not only did you teach your child to walk and talk and ride a bike, but now it's like, oh my gosh, they're graduating from high school.
and throwing spitballs.
I know. And so that was just so much fun to watch. And it's great to see that kind of a transformation. But I do think at first you kind of have to, I don't want to say struggle with it, but you have to go through the process. And you're going to be not so great, but you'll get better. And you're definitely going to see a change in your videos, like anything, right? At the first thing we did, not so great. But we probably weren't bad.
Yeah.
But then, or maybe we were horrible. I mean, it does happen. And then later on down the road, you go, wow, I've really overcome a lot. I mean, I've gone from this point over here to this point over here, and I just can't, I'm shocked at the difference the time makes, time and practice.
If you want to see a good example of that, check out Gary Vaynerchuk's original wine reviews on YouTube.
I bet that's
the very beginning. They still exist, and they're crazy. Hey, by the way, my desk is a lot cleaner right now.
Awesome.
And just before we went live, I neatly folded an entire pile of paper towels to my left, which is crazy. It was like the subconscious mind was saying, "You'd better be prepared, you ex-Boy Scout, you." So yeah, my desk is a lot cleaner now, and it didn't permanently destroy everything. It actually, it looks nice.
Good. Well,
it looks
glad to hear
nice.
that. And what you just said about the Gary V's channel, I think everybody should do that, because we do have this tendency of comparing our chapter 1 with somebody else's chapter 22 in their business. So just see, this is where they were and this is where they are now. Because if you just look at what they do now, it's soul crushing.
It's polished. They have editors. They have all kinds of crazy graphics. They have sound editing. Yeah.
They have staff. Now they all have staff, a production crew, and all of that stuff. I remember watching, there were a lot of people that I watched at the early stages of their video career. And one of the ones I used to see a lot, she used to do a lot of stuff on Facebook, was Reagan Hillier. And in the early stages, she was a little uncomfortable. She still did a great video, and now she's got completely polished production staff. I mean, you can tell there's people working on her video.
Is she an Aussie?
She is.
I know her through Katrina Ruth or Kat Laterzo, because the two of them used to broadcast live together and do recorded videos together quite some time back.
And I mean, that's another thing. So you feel uncomfortable by yourself, you invite somebody else to broadcast with you. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Because here we are.
It's about time you thanked us.
But
we're still having a ball.
Yeah. And I mean, those are all kind of classic steps going through video as you go along. And then somewhere down the line, people go, oh, it'd be fun to interview other people. I think I'll do a summit. So that's kind of another level to it as well.
So these are all, using video is just a classic way to build your audience and create engagement. Now, the real key, I think, John, is what we've been talking about for our challenge, the Health Biz Breakthrough, which is to get people to go live within your group, and you start getting this back and forth, similar to an app that we were just playing with, which is called Hi-Ho, which Gary V, of the same name, is an investor in Hi-Ho, which is short videos. going back and forth with a maximum length of 5 minutes. Apparently 5 minutes is one of those sweet spots in social media.
It is. And I've had a lot of fun with that, may I add too. But I think there's a couple key things to doing that way. I think it just people how to have camera confidence and feel confident on camera and with the tools they have available to them. I also think it gets them started working in live video and creating videos that way, which is probably something they haven't done a lot of before in a nice, safe environment where nobody's going to hurt them or yell at them or tell them they're horrible. None of those things are going to happen. And
wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a Gordon Ramsay private Facebook group?
No.
That'd be just horrible.
Probably. And then aside from that, I mean, it's a great way to create content. It's a great way to create content for products.
Yeah.
It's just good for so many things.
I find when it comes to creating content, having someone that I can talk to always makes a big difference. Like a bunch of podcast episodes that I created every time I was a guest on a podcast. When I did my articles and blog posts and that sort of thing, I had weekly calls with my copywriter, so I would just speak it and we would record it, create it like that, or all of the courses and live videos that I've created. There is always somebody on the other line, live person. Makes a very big difference comparing to the ones that I just talk to the camera.
Right.
And those conversations are key because we see that on Clubhouse where it's just all audio, it's live, and people have the fear of missing out. They got major FOMO because nothing's supposed to be recorded. It's a violation of terms of service.
I think the other thing with that too is you have to be aware of your own limitations. I mean, in reality, we have no limitations. We can do anything, but for a while we do have some. I mean, we have some self-imposed ones. I personally don't feel like I'm great at going on and talking all by myself about a particular subject. I don't know that I would be, not that I haven't spoke from stage before with notes and all of that. It's not my forte. It's not how I feel best in going about creating things. And so a lot of times I will do things like this. I'll do more interviews. If I do talk by myself, I do shorter topics under 5 minutes. Which is kind of what we see our friend Angela do a lot. She does a lot of, Angela Langlands does a lot of the the
trademark doctor.
Yeah, 3 to 5 minute stuff. And I think that's a good way to get going and not step out of any immediate boundaries, like thinking, oh my gosh, I got to create this 30-minute video all by myself.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to listen to that anyways, number one.
You don't want to be all by myself.
Yeah.
And I find the quality of content also varies significantly.
It does.
When I have the same bullet points, but just doing it by myself, it's never as good as if I have somebody else just listening, on the other. When it's a live person, same bullet points, somehow a better version of me comes up with better ways of explaining them and that sort of thing. So the quality differs.
Yeah. And of course, when you do something like this, here's the three of us. We all have our own personality, our own life experiences that we add to the conversation. And so it's going to be more rich in content because it's not one of us making it, it's three of us, and we all have different viewpoints on it. So
Porthos, Athos, I can't remember. D'Artagnan was the fourth one.
Logos.
Or the Three Stooges.
Oh, you're talking about
we could do that one too.
I heard the wrong thing. Yes.
No, I was just thinking Three Musketeers or Three Stooges or the Three Amigos. All we have to do is turn and cough at the end.
There you go.
So,
Three Amigos.
Yeah. So anyway, coming back to the audience thing, giving people what they want versus what they necessarily need. I think people want to be acknowledged within a community. So when you go searching for your people, what we were talking about earlier today, we were using slides and that sort of thing to in our group to kind of go over the major points. Kayvon actually gave me some great ideas with respect to cutting down the amount of content on the slides, and I'm actually going to do that later on. But I will say that you need to be helpful in other communities. Sure, you can put out videos and content, but if nobody's watching your content or nobody's buying your stuff, you're just going to have crickets. And people want to be part of a community, part of, I think I showed you before, the tribe. There it is. I bought this 10 years ago for the tribe. And this guy does, well, you looked it up, Bert, the Concealed Carry Association.
I thought you were going to bring up the cricket picture.
I could, but we were talking earlier about, in fact, I will show this graphic because I like this one a lot. So people often have the misperception that they want to, I'm going to create this course, and the notion is if we build it, they will come. Where's that sucker not coming in? There it is.
There you go.
And so this was the graphic that I loved the most out of our entire presentation. I'm just going to click it there so you can see it more clearly. And so you can create ebooks and physical books. You can do the online courses, the video series, which Kayvon in our group circled and sent us the screenshot circled. Speaking, which is something that's my forte, going before large groups. Webinars, the evergreen webinars. Group coaching, one of the most efficient ways to do things. Boot camps or masterminds. Retreats, I've been on several of those. The VIP days, I mean, it's not unusual to pay 10K, 15K, even 20 for a single day with a guru. Mm-hmm. The private one-on-one coaching, which, that takes up a lot of your time. And so that levels up to a much higher price point. And then consulting. And these things, people create these things first. And I think that's the big mistake, is creating it first and not having the audience of buyers in place.
Yeah, and sometimes we take for granted that, even a friend of mine, he was a consultant in a particular area, and then all of a sudden decided, hey, I'm going to build out a course. And some people liked the course, and the ones that bought it really enjoyed it, but he didn't really get an overwhelming number of sales of his class. Mm-hmm. And so, you have to be very cautious of then going to your audience and really digging in with them and making sure that, hey, if I create this course, is it really something that a lot of people are interested in, or only 5?
I'm just kind of shooting through my keynote to see if I can find some appropriate slides.
Hey, Chris, can you bring a slide on or drawing on a screen?
Which one?
It's like 3 concentric circles. There's something that I want to explain.
Yeah. The 3 concentric circles. Let me look.
Yeah. No, this was something that I'm asking for. Can you do that? Can, or just put 3 circles and bring it on the screen, because what we were just talking about right now and what John said reminded me of something that I think having the visual will help a lot.
Well, let me see. So for me to do that, hang on, hold on to your seats while I do that. Talk about on the fly. All right, let's see what I can come up with here.
He's going to actually create something.
It's like a Venn diagram is what you're looking for, right?
No. It's like a target.
A target.
Oh.
Okay, a circle, a smaller circle inside of it, and small circle inside of it.
Just draw one on a piece of paper and hold it up.
I have the Target Corporation. Will that work?
Yeah. Well, actually, I do have it on a piece of paper. So
there's one behind Kayvon. It's kind of like his logo.
Yeah. Well, it's like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is on something that I learned a while ago. So if you think of it as in 3 concentric circles like that, the center one is where the main problem is, what they really need.
Right.
The core.
Right. Yeah, but where they are is on the external circle, on the outside.
The periphery.
The idea is the most outer circle is all the known and spoken problems. Mm-hmm. I need more clients. I need more leads. I need more sales, and that sort of thing. Right? More money. Yes. So let's call them like signs and symptoms of the situation.
You're speaking my language. Yeah.
Yeah. The second circle inside are the known but unspoken problem. Mm-hmm. Right? They may share them on a private conversation with you, but they don't go online talking about it. Mm-hmm. For example, I need more money, I need more sales, but on a known but unspoken, I'm not even sure if I can, cover payroll this month. Mm-hmm. It's a problem that is known, but it's unspoken usually. They keep it, maybe there's a little bit of a shame over there and all of that. It's our job to bring that up and say, you know what, maybe you have this fear or have that fear without actually pointing it out. But this also goes in the signs and symptoms kind of a category. So that's where our conversation starts. This is selling them what they want. Mm-hmm. Talking about these 2, known and unspoken, known and spoken, and have the conversation so we can eventually get to the center circle, which is unknown problems. that they have, or an unknown. Sometimes it's just totally learning about them or giving them clarity, and actually what helping them with that. So the other two circles on the outside is where the conversation is. The internal one, the main one, is where the transformation is. So giving them what they need is over there, and selling them what they want is on the other outside too.
And it's a journey. You're gradually leading them through those various layers of your consulting or your coaching onion until you get to the core. And the core is often a belief system, even from childhood. It's a central belief. Until you uncover that, they're just kind of moving at the periphery, shifting symptoms instead of digging deep.
Yeah, it could be a core belief, could be a mindset, could be strategy. We always have been doing it this way. Why don't you do it that way? Like, we always have been selling in person. Well, why not webinars? Right? It's a switch. It's a transformation.
That's really funny, because I remember when I was delivering a speech back senior year of high school, I said, there's no sadder nor more frequent epitaph on the pages of history than we have always done it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to innovate nowadays, or you're going to be dead in the water.
Yeah, because everything changes like daily.
Just video alone, yeah. Or maybe your streaming service won't go into Facebook groups anymore.
Comes about that adaptation, right? And every time I have a conversation with my daughter, she's now 20, but in the past, I don't know, 5 or 7 years or so, I always ask her about like trying to learn the lingo that they use these days. Like, she was telling me the other day about dubs, and I say, what is dubs? Which is a short form for W, which is a short form for win. So when something good happens, you say dubs, as in win.
That must be Canadian, because I haven't heard that from my 13-year-old yet.
I haven't either.
Yeah, could be local, could be regional. So
it might be
knowing what's going
down.
on in the conversation dubs. And language and that sort of thing.
I thought it was like www instead of https:// dubs.
Could be. But things like that is important to know and learn and adapt.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear echo.
You hear a what?
And it's
there was an echo.
Yeah. And another thing that we've been seeing a lot of.
Yeah.
Strange.
Let's see. Oh, there was an echo. I see. I don't hear an echo here. That's really interesting. It's either my hearing is way off or something like that. But sometimes when you're hearing nothing, it's going to look like this.
Crickets, hey.
I think he's more of a grasshopper than a cricket.
No, actually, after I mentioned that, I think it's a cricket. I'm not sure.
You think it's a cricket?
No, I think it's a grasshopper.
Is it?
No. But the whole point was this, the whole notion that when we create courses and coaching programs and write books, that's the biggest one. I'm going to write my book and I'm going to sell 1 million copies. Yep. The notion is if you believe it, they will come. And that's when you get the crickets. Yeah. So I talked about earlier, I was alluding to the Facebook group and making comments and sharing info and not being salesy, and then gather them into your own group. And I don't know what kind of incentives you guys use. What are the things that you do use to attract people into your digital ecosystem?
Recently, I have been in this probably is a personal joy kind of a thing, but I like quizzes because it's first of all, the bunch of things about the quiz. If somebody is willing to spend a few minutes on a quiz, they are much more closer to a instant gratification kind of a mindset for a client. Right. So it's a filtering kind of a thing. On the other hand, quiz is a very soft kind of a sell or approach at the beginning, build relationship building for know, like, and trust, that you can design the questions that they go through that, and by the end of it, not only they have answered something, or you have some idea about them, but they also get something out of it. So if the questions are designed well, it helps them with more clarity, like having a score at the end, because it also helps with the starting line. So I created this one on my website, and I did put all of these psychology stuff that I could think about in it. It's about measuring whether or not if you're working in your zone, on a
your zone of genius, if you will,
your zone of genius, your zone of productivity, because that's something to know. And there was not a specific test for that out there. This is not a test; it's the quiz that I came up with. So more than it, and I scored them based on what I think is more important, like engagement or sense of fulfillment and this and that. Some of them are yes or no question, and some of them are ranking questions.
Sure.
And by the end of it, we produce a score. More than anything else, I am very, I should say, proud of the questions that I have either came up with or selected from different sources, that you just thinking about those questions, you are a different person by the end of the quiz. You have more awareness about yourself. You have had a few good reminders about, like one of them is about, have in the past 7 days, did you manage to have good sleep or not? Just a few seconds of thinking about that, and Chris is on it right now.
I think it's
Sorry, that was a mini sleep.
Yeah, that was a power nap.
That was really the 5-second power nap.
Yeah. So last night I had a great sleep, but not the 2 nights before. So for myself, is a no. But if I'm taking a quiz that it's about being in your genius zone and being as productive and effective as possible, now that I'm reminded about that. So as a freebie, as a lead gen, as a door opener, as a trust building, I like quizzes.
Mm-hmm. Mm. It's funny you say that, because I got the shirt on today from Kick Ask. It's Ryan Levesque's ask.com, where he created Bucket.io, a piece of software to create quizzes. So.
Yeah, I have to look into his stuff and see what I can learn from that.
Yeah, yeah. So he had two books. One is called Ask, which is a great book. It really is important. The right questions, everything else. But then he wrote the book. He wrote a follow-up book, which he admits should have been his first book. It's called Choose. Because people were choosing the wrong marketplace, they were choosing the wrong product format, they were making bad choices prior to asking. So they might have been in the wrong market. So,
well, now that I'm going to look into his stuff, I guess I have to
choose and ask.
Okay, there you go. That makes sense. That happens a lot. That we came up with something that should have come first.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
I noticed that's how our brain works.
Well, you think about that too. I've seen that with Scott Olford's book called The Nuclear Effect. So I bought the book. There's 6 different pillars that he uses for creating a very sound 7-figure entrepreneurial enterprise. And the 6th one is mindset. And he puts it at the back of the book. And then at that final chapter, the 6th one, he says, this is the most important. But if I had started with this, you would have stopped reading the book.
Mm-hmm. Right. We found that a lot with breakthrough advertising. When Ed started to read through that, and then I'm trying to think of the guy who wrote it now. And going
Eugene Schwartz.
Eugene Schwartz, yeah, thanks. And then Eugene said that he really meant for the beginning to come at the end, but it wouldn't have made sense if it did.
And that's a great practical example of want versus need.
Yeah.
Right. We needed the mindset first. But we didn't want it at the beginning. We were not ready to receive it until we get to the end of it and we go, now I want and need, and they match up.
We needed to eat our vegetables to build a strong body, but we wanted ice cream and cake.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Well, vegetable ice cream, that would be $1 million idea.
I have seen a broccoli ice cream in a shop someplace. I'm trying to remember where it was. It was in California.
There's an ice cream place here in Vancouver that they have over 100 flavors. And you have garlic flavored ice cream. Yeah. There's jalapeno. Yeah. There is beef flavored ice cream.
Beef flavored.
And it's not good.
Some of my favorite flavors were ice cream that I got in France, in Provence. And there was a rosemary flavored ice cream. I think there was a saffron ice cream. There were a number of herbs that you never, but these were from Provence. It was very interesting, and I would have never. Rose water, of course, that's very popular in Persia and in different places. But I'm getting back to the group. What do you offer as a freebie?
In our group, we thought about doing like a giveaway as a free offer,
or an opt-in incentive. Let's be a little more normal.
Yeah. And occasionally we do have. I know Ed did some book summaries for some of the different books that he had read, but most of it has just been good content, is what has brought people in. Mm-hmm. And Facebook has rewarded us pretty well. I think right now we get about 10 new members a day.
That's great.
Which isn't bad. Well, for Facebook group, that's really good.
Yeah,
I think we have over 800 members now.
You've got that organic reach going. I remember when you were down, you had like 200, and I was like, wow, 200, and then 300, like, wow, and you crossed the 600 mark.
Now we're over 800.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Now, do you get a lot of engagement though? That's one of the things that's important.
We get good engagement, and it's improved. Obviously, the more people we've got, the more it's improved. But I think there's a lot that we could do to make it better. Obviously, it's good enough. Facebook keeps us in search and sends us a lot of new people. But
but obviously, because there are so many, you have good engagement. Because I've seen big groups that are 100,000.
oh gosh,
They're almost dead.
terrible. But ours
Yeah.
has improved as we've brought more people
Okay.
in. Our engagement has definitely gotten better.
Are there any rewards or incentives or like, shout outs or things like that for contributing to the community or celebrating people's wins?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
Because that was on my next slide, was talking about how you're going to.
I'm sure that'll be part of the plan as well.
Yeah, because you need to love on your people and celebrate.
It's hard when you're first starting because you're just trying to get things. You're trying to get things growing. You're trying to create the content for it, and I have to admit it's hard to do things that are out of that realm when you're first starting, but it's easier to do later as people kind of start to contribute and become part of the family, as we'd say.
Yeah, I have seen people asking question posts getting a lot of engagement. And I think that's often very significant.
Yep, that is good.
Like, what are your? So I hope this is my wife or something. It's like,
I like questions, but some of them are becoming ridiculous. That it's obvious that they're just.
If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
Yeah, some of them are like, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like little graphics or infographics and that sort of thing too.
Yeah, I do too.
As something to share. I have one that I can share on my screen if I can share my screen. Can I, Chris? You're on mute.
He's on mute, but yes.
There you go. So let me see. Can you?
That's infinity.
Okay, there you go. Do you see this?
Yeah.
That we see.
There we go.
So this is like a little graphic that I send them. I call it simplified task management. To do or to delegate. So you basically go through 4 questions and you determine if you are the right person to do it, or you want to do, defer, delegate, or delete at the end of it.
Yeah.
And to make this fun, what I have done is I made this into a background. So this could be the desktop background. So simplify, plan, do with this at the corner, that while you do your work. This could be like a guide on your screen that you can use to have a little bit of a content that could be helpful to someone. So things like that I enjoy.
That's pretty good. I like that. I like graphics, things of that sort. And the other thing in terms of engagement, we did mention it earlier about going live within the group, doing Facebook lives or YouTube lives or whatever it is, multi-streaming, and getting people to share your stuff. That's one of the biggest things. Comments, shares, hearts. I'll even take angry faces over no reaction whatsoever.
Sure.
But comments are really big. So please comment below.
Even if it's an angry face.
I don't care if it's an angry face. It's a reaction. And the algorithm rewards emotional reactions.
If you love it, let us know. If you hate it, let us know.
Exactly. I'd rather have you hate it than be completely neutral towards it.
If you're indifferent, let us know.
Well, they won't because they're totally apathetic. So, so let's see. So what else were we talking about here? So in terms of getting people and nurturing your group. So I think that there's a ton of tactics and incentives and things that you can do, but it's having actual conversations that are far more important than any of us pontificating within our group. Mm-hmm. I think that's the key. That's what I do like about these lives, because we do have the ability to talk to each and every one of us. We've had as many as 4 people in one of these groups. That became a little challenging though. So, but you need to be continually addressing people's problems, just not asking them, hey, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Or what are you doing for Cinco de Mayo? Or, other things like that.
Yeah, those questions, they get a lot of answers, but where can they go? Maybe it's good for algorithms.
I think it is.
It's good for interaction and that sort of thing. But I find them, okay, so we find out the answer to, I don't know, favorite movie. Now what? Right. I like to start with a question that the answer to that is not only thought provoking, but also can solve one of those symptoms that we mentioned,
Sure.
known unspoken or known and unspoken.
It's 2001, A Space Odyssey. Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
Yeah, I don't remember that movie. I have to watch it again.
Yeah, it was 1968, and my mother took me there for a matinee, and it was 3.5 hours long with a 15-minute intermission.
Wow.
Stanley Kubrick wanted you to feel what it was like to be actually in space. And so it was in sections very boring.
Mm.
So,
Well, that'll do it.
well, that should do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of movies, I started to watch Alita, which is latest James Cameron movie. Yeah. Even the motion capture, which they call now performance capture, is even more advanced than Avatar.
is it good?
Well, so far so good. I have watched half of
Oh.
it, and the other half would be tonight.
All right.
Yeah, I like it.
That's good. I'm going to turn back only to these slides only because there were a couple of points I wanted us to touch on.
Yeah, bring it up.
Before we disappear here. And that is, when you're nurturing your audience, as Rachel used to always say, love on your people, be your real self. Don't pretend to be Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect or Ms. Perfect. And your group members, you'll either attract them or repel them, and your members will get to know, like, and trust you. Eventually you go from the like phase to the love phase, and then eventually they become almost engaged or married, and they become your advocates and your enthusiasts. That's the real key. The going live we talked about. Nurtured community members tend more likely to become buyers. That's the key. And when things go wrong, admit it and move on, because I really do feel that recovery is everything. I spill my water. Hold on. I need to clean up. I'll be back. You guys carry on without me. And so you present yourself as one of them, not removing yourself from them. You really want to show that you do have flaws, that you've had similar problems to theirs and you've overcome those. Mm-hmm. And I think that makes a big difference, because if you were able to do these, and bringing yourself down from a pedestal is very important, because otherwise people begin to think that, oh, this person's wonderful and I'll never be able to accomplish what they do.
Yeah, I even heard that I think it was a presentation or sales education, that you actually mentioned things. I just dropped my pen, or I just spilled my coffee, or something like that.
I spilled my water all over my iPhone.
So it's a mistake, and you make a point that you bring it up, that I just did this, or it could happen right now or a few days ago. But by mentioning those things, you break all of those barriers, and people say, he's like me and I'm like him.
And it shows that you do not have to be perfect to do live broadcasts. That takes away a lot of the fear.
Right.
That's a great answer. Yes.
Because John has mentioned that too, is, that live broadcasts are very forgiving, and challenges are very forgiving too. Mm-hmm. Oh, we have another one here from Cam. They were rocking it. Oh, Cam had bounced. So long, Cam. Happy bouncing.
Way back.
So that's way back. Okay. That's a way back machine. So anyway, I think we're getting close to the end of today's. Yes, we are. So any final words, gentlemen, about building an audience, building your product ahead of time versus developing your relationships first? I mean, that's a loaded softball question.
Well, I think you guys reminding everyone about the challenge that you're doing right now would be a good one. I'm working on something. I can mention that, and then reminding about the after party on Clubhouse.
Oh, that's right. In fact, we have the link below some of these videos. You'll find it on my personal page on definitely in the Marketing Happy Hour. We have the link to go to Clubhouse. For those of you who do not have Clubhouse yet, are they still in iOS only, Apple only?
Yes.
As far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be in April, coming into Android, but I do have several invitations left. If you want one and have an iOS device, just send me a private message here and I'll send you an invitation. But we're doing our so-called after party at 10 minutes past the hour, and it's audio only. And we have had some amazing conversations in the past after this broadcast.
We have.
Yes.
You know, I was going to say the only thing I would bring up that we didn't bring up, and I think it's a good point to make, is that if you are struggling with trying to figure out your avatar and your target audience, I find the best way to get around that is to take some of your current customers and ask them why they decided to work with you or do business with you, and what brought them to that, and what else they, just kind of do a little overall interview of them. And oftentimes that will give you a really good idea of who your audience really is. It's kind of like on Facebook, we do advertising. We take our existing audience and we can use it to look for a lookalike audience that looks like our existing audience in a lot of different ways. And they do a really good job of that, just by, comparing the same kinds of, people in our group like this. And so the lookalike audience should like that, and pulling that together. So it's really kind of that same philosophy, but using your own clients as the first step to that.
Yeah.
They make your best focus group, your current.
Yeah. John, you do that, right? You help
really
people finding out about their avatar, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the key things with video, and I have a really special process that we go through. I think.
So I think it would be great if you're okay with this. People who are listening to this, if you come to the clubhouse and you raise your hand, John can go through that process with you, ask you some questions to help you with clarity, to find your avatar. So if you have issues with pinpointing your avatar and you need some help with that, in a few minutes on Clubhouse, we can go over that together.
Yeah,
10 minutes. Jump on in. The water is warm.
The water is fine. Yes.
I need a cold shower though, because this room is hot in here. It's a little hot box. Anyway, so Kayvon, you can find Kayvon at simplify.zone, the implementation coach. John can be found at Videos Are Social. And are you still doing targetednetsolutions.com?
No. But
okay, don't look. JohnPaduchak.com
is back up. Yeah, so you can find
it's back up.
And you can find me on Facebook. That's usually the easiest place because we have a lot of groups there.
Oh, and if you're interested in recreational vehicles and a mobile business, John also has on Hi-Ho the RV channel, which I think is hysterical. I think it's great.
Yeah. So, I wanted to also mention that I'm at the final stages of
your book
launching my program, or it's going to be on soon. So it is a program all about implementation. I call it Implementation Advantage. It's a 6-step process in 6 weeks. So if anybody's interested, all you have to do is go to simplify.zone/implementation.
Sounds good. I'm glad it's a 6-step program instead of a 12-step program, because I feel powerless in those.
Yeah, I started with 35 steps, then simplified it.
All right. So we're at the top of the hour. We're getting out of here. Come back here again next week if it's 3:00 Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on a Wednesday. We're back here at the Marketing Happy Hour. So, ciao for now. Join us in Clubhouse, and we'll talk to you there.